Hi guys, today I am sitting here with my sister, my friend Tekelia, and she's going to be joining me today on Treasures by Trees. And so we're going to be talking about communicating effectively. And so once again, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate the DMs, the comments, the calls, everything you've done and said, on this podcast about, grief, everything. I certainly appreciate it. And so I definitely won't hold up time. I'm going to share a little bit how I met this beautiful woman. And so I'm going to say at around about 14, I was 14, and so her mom moved her to Alzheimer's. So I'm from a small community, as I told you, maybe 2,100. That was our highest population. And so she was my neighbor. And so I was 14 when I met her, and I'm like, oh my God, who is this gorgeous girl, right? So, from the from the country, and I was thinking, and so we immediately became not friends, but sisters, because we ate. Of course, we ate at her house all the time because her mom was a better cook than mommy. Sorry, mommy. Mm-hmm. But ate over there almost every day, and our families are still we're truly family, because in fact, we were so close that my brother started dating her niece. And so I have a niece and a nephew by her niece. Mm-hmm. And so we're technically sisters in a way. So she's going to be joining me today, and I'm so excited. Definitely excited about that. And so, as you know, I'm going to stop talking and let Tekelia introduce herself.
Well, I'm Tekelia from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Later moved to Alzheimer, Arkansas, like she said, where I met her and her family. And later on, around 98, I moved to Dallas and been here ever since. And it's been good. It's just been even better since I've hooked up with her again.
Yes, we recently connected, and so I'm so excited about that, because when I tell you, God removes, but He also replaces. And so as He was removing people out of my life, I was praying, God, you're gonna have to replace these friends, because I'm sad right now, right? I'm grieving, help me out. And so one thing I know about the Lord, He's faithful, and so He'll send you what you need when you need it. And it's so funny, I've been here 6.5 years, and Tekelia's been here since 98, and we just connected, a week ago? Mm-hmm. And so it's so awesome, because we're both single, and we're at a place and space in our life where we can appreciate each other and appreciate the sisterhood and the friendship. So I'm so grateful for that, because that's important at this particular time and juncture in my life, because you have to be careful who's in your circle and who you give your ear to. That's very important to me. So I couldn't be more grateful and thankful to God, because we talked about, why haven't we connected? Right. But one thing about God, he sends people when you need them at the right time, because He's the orchestrator of time, as we know. And so very thankful for that. And so I'm not going to hold up time, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, we're going to be talking about communicating effectively. And so for me, I'm a communicator. It comes naturally. I've always been a natural communicator, but I haven't always been an effective communicator. It's one thing to be able to communicate, but not be effective doing it. And so I've learned how to communicate effectively over the years. As you get older, you learn how to, what to say, when to say. And sometimes everything doesn't need a response. Sometimes there's a time to be quiet, And so I'm going to say this. Proverbs 4:7 says this: wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get an understanding. And that's one of my favorite verses, because I kind of chop it up. I say, in all things, get an understanding. And that's true, because if you don't get an understanding, then you're going to have a misunderstanding. And who wants that? And so one of the things that we're going to talk about first is that I'll share a little bit about how I became an effective communicator, and I'm going to let Tekelia share about how she became an effective communicator. And so always being a talker, always having to give the gab, it was easy for me to communicate. And as I just shared, there is an effective way to communicate. And one of the things that I've learned in communicating and being an effective communicating is learning how to listen. That was a struggle for me because I can be a hothead. And so when somebody started talking, I'll be in there trying to defend what they say, trying to say, well, that ain't what I meant, instead of just listening. In order to be an effective communicator, you have to be a great listener. And I'm going to ask Tekelia, what does she think about that?
It's true. I mean, you have to listen to even understand what a person is talking about, where they're going, where, you do. It's important to listen. Without listening, it's not much you can communicate about, because you don't even know what's going on, where they're coming from. So yeah, you have to listen.
Absolutely. And I found that challenging in my life, listening. And so as I got older and being married, I wasn't married to a great communicator at all. When I would tell him about how I was feeling about things that was going on in the marriage, he, instead of listening, he would get very angry. And so it made me not want to communicate. And I would say, have you ever experienced some of that, like in relationships?
Yes, I have, because I communicate, if it's necessary. I communicate if you're listening to me, if you're hearing me. But if I don't communicate just to be talking, I need you to listen. I'm going to listen to you, and I need you to listen to me so that we can have an understanding. So yeah, but if you're not listening, or I don't feel it's going anywhere, then I do shut down and I don't communicate.
Absolutely, because what's the point of talking? Talk to talk. I don't believe in just talking and not saying anything. So if I'm trying to communicate and you're not listening, I'm gonna stop talking as well, because I'm not just gonna be talking and you're not listening. And so that is, I would say, the number one thing if you truly want to be an effective communication. Learn how to listen. If you're in a relationship or even on the job, and your girlfriend, your wife, your husband, boyfriend, they're coming up to you, they're saying, hey, can we chat? Can we have a conversation? And they're saying, hey, babe, these are some of the things I would like for you to work on. And you're sitting there, you won't even give them the opportunity to tell you, because you're like, what? No, shut up. Listen to what they have to say. Because in order to work on anything and fix anything, you have to at least know what the problem is, and just because you might not agree with it, but if I'm in a relationship with a person and I'm telling you, hey, this is the problem, and you might not agree with that, like you might feel that you're good in that area, but I'm saying, hey, babe, I need for you to work on this. And instead of you listening to what I'm saying, you want to sit here and argue. And that kind of makes people shut down and not want to communicate with you and not want to share what they're feeling inside. So yeah, for sure, definitely. So and the next thing we're going to talk about, what are some of the ways that you can become an effective communicator? And you have to pay attention to body language, because people body I don't have a poker face, so y'all see my videos, you be seeing all kind of stuff, right? It's just not what I can do, because if I see some crazy, I'm like, oh. And so you have to pay attention to body language, because when you're talking, and whether it's relational or just in life in general, because people body language will tell you a lot. And I'm gonna let you speak about that.
Well, that's true. That's why.
Just like, how you talking to somebody and you're like, I'll say, in this example, our kids, right? You're saying, hey, I need you to clean your room, take the garbage out, and they sitting there like, rolling their eyes, want to talk back and stuff, and their body language is being disrespectful. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And no one wants to talk to an adult like your spouse, where you're sitting there pouring out your heart and they looking at you, frowning up.
In that way, that's a problem.
Right, because it's going to go left, because as adults, as you get older, wisdom should kick in. You shouldn't be rolling your eyes and butting in while they're talking, over talking them. I mean, to me, that's disrespectful, because the one thing I hate, God knows I hate this. If I'm talking and I'm explaining something to you, and first of all, you're not listening, and you're trying to over talk me. You're trying to explain to me something before I can even finish talking. And so the minute the person start talking while I'm talking, I stop talking. Because when we were kids in the country, right, Alzheimer, when mama and daddy was talking, we didn't talk.
Shut up.
You shut up. And so you learn this as a little kid, not to talk while adults talking. And so it's very difficult, you know, you're sitting there having this conversation and you can't even get your words out because they over talking you.
Right.
How do you feel about that?
Stop talking. Okay, speak your piece.
Right. Okay. I'm just gonna let you have this because apparently you don't want to hear what I got to say,
Right.
and so it's so annoying. And so I just stop talking. And whenever they get to talking, be like, "Can I talk now? Is it okay?" Because it's like I'm never gonna overtalk you, and I think I call it borderline disrespectful, and I think it's very childish and rude as well because you're grown. If somebody's talking, let them finish, then you start talking. Because it's not like you're gonna run out of time talking, right?
Right. We can talk.
We can talk. Oh, can I talk? I tell you, I got some friends, they be like, "Oh my God, do you ever shut up?" No.
I got one that probably say that about me.
Tekelia and I, we're talkers, natural talkers. And I'll tell you, my last relationship, me and this guy, we talked 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. The longest conversation we made was 10 hours a day for that particular day. And it was one of those things my friends was like, what were y'all talking about for 10 hours? That's overkill. And so sometimes in relationships, you meet a person that you connect on a different level. And so we connected on such a level where we can sit on the phone for hours. It was never a dull moment. We talked the entire 10 hours. Nobody was snoring or anything. And so that's rare. You hardly ever meet somebody that you generally click with and that you guys connect on the intellectual level, and it's beyond the physical. And he and I did that. And so and I do, my friends a lot of them, they'll just stop talking and just listen because I am a talker, and it's just got to get the gab now. It is what it is. And Tekelia do too.
Yeah, I do. I can talk.
Yes, and so she and I, we can share. I mean, and so I can sit up to work like in the morning just talking about everything, like hair, just anything. And so but it's so important when you are out there dating and meeting people, you have to make sure that you do date or marry a great communicator, because without communication, nothing is going to survive.
Right.
And I'm gonna let you touch on that a little bit.
Well, it's true, because if you're not able to communicate with your partner, with your friend, with whoever, then it's meaningless. What are we talking about? What are we doing? I don't know you. You don't know me. You're not even giving me time to let you know who I am,
Right.
to express myself to you, and that just makes no sense. You
Right.
need to be able to communicate. It's important. You need to know how vulnerable a person is, how sensitive a person is. If they're not, you just need to know a person. And in order to know them, you have to communicate.
Absolutely. Because how am I going to learn my partner if I don't listen to my partner? And I know so many people in relationships, they suppress stuff. They don't want to express how they're feeling. They want to say, well, I've been saying this all. She's not listening. He's not listening. Nobody can read minds. Only Jesus. That's it. He can read. He knows what we're thinking, right? So if you want, in any relationship, if you want your partner to know what you're going through, your thoughts, and if something is bothering you, have to communicate that stuff. And men are terrible. You guys are awful. You can't communicate. You're not great communicators. And, and some of you're okay. You're all right. But most guys, they're not vulnerable. They don't want to be vulnerable because they've been vulnerable with a woman and she's taken advantage of that. And some guys, it takes them a while to be vulnerable with you. But I swear, Tekelia, tell them how much we love vulnerability.
Ooh. Ooh. It's overwhelming.
Oh my goodness, can you see us? I swear we love men that are vulnerable. We love a man that can tell us how he feels about us. You shouldn't have to guess. You shouldn't have to ask your man, how you feel about me, babe? I should already know, right? I should already know how you feel.
So is that language?
Yeah, that love language. That's 5 love languages, okay? I need to know your love language. And we were just chatting about the 5 love languages because it's so funny. I met this guy at the cigar lounge, and I'm like, what are your love languages? And like instead of him saying, I don't really know what you're talking about, he started rambling and talking about, because if you haven't read the book or you never heard of the 5 love languages, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. Instead of him saying, I don't know what you're talking about, he thought he was smarter than me, and he thought he could use them words. Baby, you can't use words against her. And I'm just sitting there listening, because the stuff he was saying was not in the book. It was not a love language. And I'm like, Lord, why don't he just say that I don't know what you're talking about? Because his love languages were not the 5 love languages. So, typical, right? Trying to show off with words. Mm-hmm. My point is, you need to know your partner love languages, because you have to be able to feed to those love languages. And the only way you're going to know them is how?
Communication.
That's it. That's the key. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because I don't know if you don't like gifts like that. Me too, I love gifts.
They don't have to be big, just gifts.
Husband, future husband, I love gifts. And it can be like a single rose. In fact, you can go to Dollar General, give me a $1 card. I'm just going to love it because of the thought. The fact that you went to the Dollar General, if you have a Dollar General, because we don't have one in Los Colinas. If you have a Dollar General and you go give me a $1 card, it's going to be about the thoughts. And so, Tekelia and I love. That's one I love. Gifts. Receiving a gift, that's in the book. And so it's just funny because, I'd rather for a person to tell me like, hey, what do you mean? He didn't even have to like say, he just could have said, what do you mean when you say 5 love languages? What are your love languages? But he tried to pretend, and he tried to be smarter than me, which, it's kind of hard to do that because she's an intellectual. But anyway, we're going to go to the next subject. And so we're going to say, I'm going to ask this question. Let's see. I don't know if I want to. Tekelia, I'm going to ask you, what are some of the qualities you think of a great communicator? From as far as relational or just life in general.
What's some of the qualities
that, like in your relationships, like some of the qualities of a great communicator? Because one thing I would say is one of the qualities I feel of a great, they tend to know what they're talking about. Just like we were talking about the love languages. Instead of him saying like, what do you mean? Having good qualities in communication, you're gonna know your said subject, right?
Right. Well, I like to be touched. Right. I just do. I like to be touched. If you're not touching me or you're not paying attention to me, then I have a problem.
True.
So
somebody told me that I required and needed too much attention just because. And the thing about it, you know what I said? You know what I told him? I've always gotten attention.
Right.
You only want attention from your man, but then you get mad when other men give it.
Yeah, but you can't give anything.
Come on now.
Walk by me like I don't exist.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
It's not good. And we sitting over here single, but what? Guess what? By choice. Hey, it is what it is. Because it's one thing not to have options, right?
Right.
We got options. Lots, right? Lots. Okay. So thank God we're not bragging. We're confident.
We're out there. Listen, touch, talk, big.
My girl, she gorgeous, right? She says she likes to be touched. Now, y'all, future husband, if you listening, she likes to be touched. And so I'm going to give you a few qualities of what I feel a great communicator possesses. They tend to know what they're talking about. They listen more than they talk. As I was saying before, when someone is talking, give them the respect to at least listen to what they have to say. What would you say about that?
You have to, or else you're just talking. It don't make sense. You're not getting anywhere. You just, what is it? I don't know. What would you call it?
Foolishness.
Well, yeah.
Y'all sit there. You talking, he over talking you, and because some people do that. They still keep talking while they're talking. Then it turns into a screaming match. No, not doing that.
So just
It's crazy.
You can listen. It won't take that long.
No. And if you care about a person, you're going to want to listen to what they're saying. You're going to want to listen to their needs. You're going to want to meet those needs because that's going to be important to you. And also another one, they focus more on understanding instead of trying to be right. This is one of the ones I truly had to work on because when I was younger, I focused on trying to be right. I always wanted to be right. I wanted to be like, no, that's not true. I didn't do that. I didn't say that. That's not what I meant. Now, I don't do that. I listen. I get an understanding of what you're saying. And if you're saying, hey, Teresa, listen, this is how you made me feel. And I might not feel like I made you feel like that. But guess what? If you tell me I made you feel like that, I'm going to say, oh, wow, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Thanks for sharing. Because I appreciate anybody that can share, whether it's romantically, friendship, friends, associates and stuff like that. And so you have to not try to be right
all the time.
It's exhausting.
Can you give me one?
I know, dang, what is this? It's not a pissing contest. It's not. If you're in a relationship, you don't have to try to be right. Just listen. I swear your relationship would grow. You guys get to know each other and you'll feed off each other because I swear, if you got a relationship and y'all can't communicate, I don't know what that is. I'm gonna call that a relationship. What do you call it? Foolishness. Tequila not call it foolishness because that's what it is. Another one is they pay attention to nonverbal communications, and so people pay attention to not my poker face, because I tend to be doing all that. This person, they was like, oh my God, you don't got a poker face. Do you got a poker face?
Yeah.
I
need be.
It's right. I can't, and I try so hard, but God didn't give me a poker face because I'd be like, oh God. Because I'm not going to say that. But yeah, I don't have a poker face. And so another one is they are aware when there is a misunderstanding. The Bible says in all things get an understanding. And so if you're talking to somebody and there is a misunderstanding, how do you deal with that? I'll just say with a female.
I'm talking to a female, you saying.
Mm-hmm. And that's a misunderstanding. And you're trying to communicate this misunderstanding.
Well, first of all, let them finish, whatever they're saying, and then you have to correct them then. And you have to, you don't have to correct them. They might feel they're right.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to say what I feel. And if you're wrong and I feel you're wrong, I'm going to let you know,
Right.
And that's just that. I'll let you know. And that's all I could do,
Absolutely. And if you truly are friends with somebody and your friend is coming to you saying, hey, when you said that or did that hurt my feelings, you're first of all, you're gonna listen. You're not gonna be sitting there rolling your eyes and getting all heated because she's telling you how she feels. And you say, hey, okay, I'm sorry, that's not what I meant, right? And so there has to be communication in any type of relationship, romantically, friendships between women. If you cannot communicate, you cannot get a job.
Okay.
You cannot get a job because if you're in that interview and the words that's coming out of your mouth are not professional, you're going to tend to get looked over for that position because you have to be an effective communicator. And if you do not know how to communicate, there are books. It comes natural for me, but it does not come natural for everybody. My sweetheart here says it. It doesn't come natural for her. And so for me, it's easy. And so some people struggle, in this aspect. And it's not easy for everybody to say what's on their heart and mean what they say and say what they mean. And so, but in order for any relationship to work, you have to be an effective communicator. I think that you always have to be willing to talk about your feelings and talk about the things that you can improve your relationship. We're not just talking about romantic relationships, any relationships with family, because I have family, right?
Yeah.
Because we family, right? Because our family, okay, we just not gonna go there. And so, me, I'm an open-minded person, so I don't care to be right. That's not who I am. I care to understand. There's never a right or wrong answer from me in communication. Everything is about getting to understanding. So I don't care who I'm talking to. I don't care to be right. I just want us to have an understanding.
Right.
Because we've been here. I've been here 6.5 years. You've been here since '98. We ran across a bunch of people that, they care to be right.
Yeah.
Like, they will argue you down. They will run you down. They Tequila.
Have it. You won. That's me.
Tapped out. I'm done. You're right now, because you have to be careful where you exert your energy to.
Yes.
And what we was talking about earlier, we tired. We're not doing it, because if you run into a person, all they just care to be right. I was right. You wrong. I mean, who cares?
And most of the time, it's not about anything.
Nothing.
It don't even matter.
Doesn't even matter. Exactly.
Some people just like to argue.
They love to argue.
I think that's what it is.
I think it's too, because I've ran into people that truly like to argue. They will argue you down about bread. Wheat bread.
I had a girlfriend that done it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst.
Yeah, I tend to run from them. I just cannot. I am so exhausted. I cannot. And Tequila and I, we both had to end some relationships with females. And I feel as though maybe that's why God, reconnected us now. And so women, they can be catty, and they can feel like, I'm right, you're wrong. But if you truly trying to communicate and you truly trying to get a understanding, it's not going to matter, because it's not about who's right, who's wrong. Let's fix this.
Right.
Right. If you care about our relationship, let's fix this. Because we're grown, we're a particular age, and at some point, wisdom should kick in. And I cannot date a guy that cannot communicate, because I'm an overthinker, right? I'm always down the rabbit hole, right? I done already figured it out, And so, if you can't communicate, I can't date you. And I had the pleasure of talking to somebody recently. I asked a question. They said that they were just having such a hard time meeting a good woman. I'm just having such a hard time. I said, what are the challenges that you're facing, when it comes to finding a good woman?
Mm-hmm.
I swear to God, this guy said, wow, you hit me with that? I was like, that's a simple question. You just said it ain't no. You just said it. I said, let me call you back. You can't even answer that. You're saying there are no good women, no good women. I just said, what is that? Oh, man. I'm just saying, everybody cannot communicate, because I found that absurd, obviously. And so, do you have to date a great communicator, you think?
I do. Yeah, I do. They need to be able to, I need to be able to communicate with you. If not, I don't know what to do with you. Because, I don't have time to try to figure you out.
Oh, God.
I don't have time to figure nobody out. And so I need to know what you mean, I need to know why are you here? What are we doing?
What we doing? Okay, because we got time. Because, time is of the essence, right? So at some point, it's like, what we doing? Okay? Because who wants to be sitting just, okay, you gorgeous, we're just going to put you in the corner because you're nonverbal. Put him in the corner, just look at how fine he is. No! Who does that, right? And so one of the most valuable things you can bring to any situation, relationship, or opportunity is your entire confident and secure self. I've always been a very secure woman, confident, and I'll let Tequila speak on that a little bit.
On you?
No, you.
On me? Yeah, I'm pretty confident. I think I'm a little bit too confident.
Oh. It's okay too, honey. When you got it going on, you got it going on.
But no, it's not. It's just, you got to know who you are.
Absolutely.
And what you want, and that's just it. It don't take a lot to be confident. Right. No matter how you look, who you,
right.
That's not it. It's from inside.
It's from inside.
and my inner is confident.
Absolutely. And so confidence doesn't have to do with this.
No.
It has to do with this. It has to do with what you bring to the table and how you view yourself. And we are living in a world where there are a lot of people that's not confident within themselves. And so, guys, we are running over on time. And the last thing we're going to touch on real quickly is things that we dislike about people who do not communicate well. For me, if you overtalk me, I'm done. I'm too tired. I'm too old. I'll let you say what you dislike the most.
Same thing. Just
We tired. We like, no. If you're gonna overtalk us, what we gonna do?
we gonna
Tap
do
out.
this like adults or bye.
You know, deuces.
We too old to try to figure each other out. I'm gonna put it all out there, and you can put it in. If not, then
Hey,
next.
what Taylor Swift said, thank you, next. Okay, just saying confidence, right? And so, guys, we're gonna end there, and I hope something was said to help you, but it's so important to be able to communicate and to be an effective communicator. If that's something you need to work on it. It's okay. It takes people longer than others, and so definitely, once again, I want to say thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you for listening. Thank my sister here,
Thanks for having me.
of course. And so this is gonna be my turn up partner for the rest of 2021. And so I appreciate you guys so very much. And so definitely until the next time, make sure you guys subscribe. It's in all caps, red. Just hit, and you can hit the notification button if you want to be notified when I'm going to be posting. And so definitely thank you for watching Treasures by Trees. It's definitely, I get joy out of this, speaking, because definitely this is my calling and I'm walking in my purpose, and I'm so grateful. And my job is to say something that will motivate and help somebody along the way. And so, thank you, sweetheart.
Thank you. Communicate.
Communicate. Hey, that's what it is.
The
Key to a successful relationship, situationship, getting a job, all of it. Be effective. Until the next time, guys. We'll see you later. Bye.